Thanks for tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the seasonal models for today's video. Yes, we do the October seasonal model roundup, looking at what all the seasonal models that I've managed to compile together are showing in terms of the weather, possible weather anyway, for the winter of 2012-2013. Now, before I go on video, I just want to talk about a few things. What to say about there'll usually be a video ad overlay my weather videos at gazweathervids.com. Please play those videos. You will be supporting gazweathervids.com if you do that. I also want to mention that every single chart you see on this in this video can be found on my links page, or at least the websites can be found on my links page. So you can go to the links page, click on the links tab at the top of the page, go through to the links page, and you'll be able to find all of the websites used for this video. And the last thing I want to mention is the fact that I'm suffering from a pretty nasty cold at the moment. I'm very husky, as I'm sure you are aware. My voice could give out at any moment, so if that happens I'll have to have a drink of water. So I hope you'll bear with me, and hopefully I'll get through it, and we'll get through it together. So let's just have a look at the UK Met Office first of all. This is the ensemble mean anomaly, temperature anomaly for December, January, February from the UK Met Office long range model. And what we're looking at here is much of Europe and the British Isles included, covered in these green colours. That's indicating that the model is forecasting a cooler or colder than average winter across many parts of Europe. You have to go right way towards Russia to find above average temperatures, near normal temperatures, pretty much everywhere across the continent. British Isles included, forecast to have a cooler or colder than average winter. And actually these blue colours here indicating some pretty cold temperatures indeed being forecast around Western Europe. So yes, it could be the core of that cold could actually be around the west of Europe. Notice this area of orange and red here, well to the north, that's above average temperature anomalies being predicted well to the north of the country. Again, that could just be indicating some form of blocking area of high pressure to the north of the country, which would make sense really with these colder than average temperatures here in the mid-latitudes. So let's go on and have a look at the precipitation anomaly, and again this is quite interesting. We're seeing that below average precipitation anomalies being forecast to the north and to the west of the British Isles. Near normal precipitation anomalies being forecast here around southern and central parts of England, and well above average precipitation anomalies being forecast through the Mediterranean. So these orange areas here, the orange colours, probably indicate again some form of area of high pressure to the north and to the northwest of the British Isles, and the above average rainfall here being predicted through the Med could be indicating some sort of southerly tracking jet stream, although we do still have even to the southwest slightly above average temperature and precipitation anomalies, I should say, around Iberia and to the west of Portugal. So that could just imply that there's some sort of Azores high, so maybe not a southerly tracking jet stream here, but I think really for us the most important thing is this blocking area of high pressure that's being predicted with these below average precipitation anomalies to the north and to the northwest of the British Isles. Finally, having a look at the sea level pressure. So this is the surface pressure, and this is going for well, look at this, a big blocking area of high pressure, above average pressure being predicted here between Scotland and Iceland, a nice area of high pressure. That would be, if that's right, and that extends right way back towards northern Scandinavia and goes out in towards Greenland as well. So that's quite an extensive, really, blocking area of high pressure being predicted there. Again, this is a mean anomaly for December, January, February, so it doesn't mean that this will be continuous throughout that 3-monthly period, but nevertheless, this is quite an extensive signal here for a big blocking high pressure somewhere to the north of Scotland. Now, the next thing I want to look at is the Brazilian model. I haven't used the Brazilian model in other videos before, and this is rather different actually, this model. At least I think it's rather different. I'm not entirely certain about this, to be honest, but what I think we're looking at here is the reverse of what you tend to find on most seasonal models. So the reds, oranges and pinks I think are indicating below average pressure here. 500 millibar heights actually this is, so this is heights in the atmosphere at 500 millibars, 18,000 feet, but this I think is predicting below average heights here to the south and to the east of Europe. And the blue colours, funnily enough, blue colours would normally be indicating below average heights, but I think on this model the blue colours are indicating above average heights to the north. This is the scale here, so the negative part of the scale is the yellows, orange, reds and pinks. The positive anomalies are the greens, blues and purples. So yes, I think the blue colours are indicating above average heights to the north with a trough going to the south. So this is the reverse of what you see on most models, but it still is indicating above average heights to the north, below average heights to the south or to the southeast. That's a cold winter setup if that's right. Having a look at the temperature anomaly, actually it's going for near normal temperatures here around the British Isles, slightly colder than average around Scandinavia and much of Europe near normal as well. But notice these well above average temperature anomalies to the north. Again, you would associate that with the above average heights. And for the precipitation anomaly, well, I think precipitation is near normal again around the British Isles and much of Central Europe as well. Above average precipitation here to the south of the country around Iberia. Below average precipitation again to the north. Again, that would be associated with that blocking area of high pressure. Now remember, again, these are anomalies for a 3 monthly period, December, January, February, so this isn't a continuous anomaly. Go back to the 500 millibar height anomaly. This isn't a continuous sort of pressure setup throughout the whole 3 monthly period. It's the anomaly that you would expect or is being forecast for that 3 monthly period. So overall, I think this is a cold setup, even though the model isn't forecasting a particularly cold winter or a particularly wet winter either with this trough to the south. But you tend to find this on seasonal models, that the signal for temperature and precipitation is weaker. Often the signal for pressure is much stronger and much more useful. So if this is right, I would overrule actually the temperature prediction, and this would be a cold winter for the British Isles. That's the Brazilian model, and I'll try to find out more detail about the Brazilian model for other videos. The next model I want to go on to is the CFS model. CFS version 1 is now done. It's off my links page. We're finished with CFS version 1. So we're now down to CFS version 2, which is just really now basically the primary CFS model. And what this is going for, again, this is 700 millibar height, so it's very similar to the 500 millibar height idea, just in a slightly different area of the atmosphere. But what this is going for is a very zonal setup. We've got above average heights here being predicted to the south and to the southwest of the country. Below average heights being predicted around Greenland and Iceland. This is a zonal setup, high pressure to the south, low pressure to the north, westerly winds dominating. That is zonal. But one thing that does offer some interest for the cold lovers, I know there are cold lovers watching this video, is the big area of above average heights here to the north and northeast of Scandinavia. That's a blocking area of high pressure, but on this model at the moment it's being forced back out of the way, and the Atlantic really is in the ascendancy on this model. For temperature, the temperature anomaly for the 3 monthly period, well, we're near normal here around much of the British Isles, but notice these above average temperatures here around Scandinavia, temperature anomalies. You would expect that with a westerly dominated winter. And for precipitation anomalies, well, we've got a below average precipitation anomalies being forecast for much of Spain, Portugal and southern France, slightly above average precipitation anomalies to the north around some parts of Norway, some parts of Scotland and Iceland. Again, this is telling us that it's a zonal winter being forecast by CFS version 2. So if this is right, I would actually overrule the temperature anomaly, and it would be a mild winter overall. And precipitation coming out probably a bit wetter than average up to the northwest, a bit drier than average to the southeast. But this is in complete contrast, CFS is in complete contrast, I think, to the Brazilian model and to the UK Met Office model, in that it is going for a zonal winter just at the moment. Next model we're going to look at is the ECMWF. I would love to show you all the data, but the ECMWF has seasonal data. I can't because they keep it hidden away from the general public. So this is all I can show you. It's a temperature forecast for, not for the winter actually, it's for November, December, January, so just about into the full winter, but it's not for the whole of the winter. And it's predicting near normal temperatures here around the British Isles, well above average temperatures for Scandinavia and to the north of Iceland, to the east of Greenland. So that perhaps does imply it might be going for some sort of blocking to the north or to the northeast, but it's really very difficult to say. This is all we can say about the ECMWF, and that's not my fault, it's theirs, so please don't blame me for that. I would love to show you more from the ECMWF, but I can't. Now, the next thing I want to look at is the Russian model. This is seasonal anomalies for, again, it's not quite for winter, it's for November, December, January. This is probability, actually. So it's going for, first of all, temperature, above average temperature probability here across England and Wales, near normal temperature probability to Scotland and Northern Ireland. Notice this big area of below average temperature probability, though, to the north of Scotland and towards Scandinavia. Now, if I have a look at the precipitation probability for November, December, January, this is quite interesting. It doesn't really tie in actually with the temperature anomalies, because we've got this big blue area here to the north and to the northwest of the British Isles. That is below normal precipitation probability, and the orange colours here are above normal precipitation probability. So this is actually forecasting some sort of blocking area of high pressure to the north of the country, with a trough here to the east. So quite how this really ties in with the temperature probability, I'm not sure, because if this is right, then we're looking at a blocking high to the north, we're looking at a trough to the east, and that would be tending to give us winds from a more northerly or easterly direction. So quite how the temperature and precipitation probabilities tie in with one another for this period, November, December, January, I'm not sure, and I think this is a bit suspect actually, this update this month. I'm not sure at all sure about how these are tallying up with one another. The temperature and precipitation probabilities really don't make sense with that one. Now, the next model I want to go on to is the Beijing Climate Centre models. These Beijing Climate Centre model. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly for December, January and February, so for the whole winter of 2012-2013. And the blue colours here indicating below average heights here around the British Isles. The reds and orange colours here indicating above average heights. So this is going for a very blocked winter to the north, around Greenland and around Iceland as well. Generally a very blocked winter up there. Trough of low pressure there around the British Isles and extending into Central Europe as well. This is a negative NAO. The NAO would be negative with a trough to the south, a ridge to the north. That is a cold winter. And if we have a look at the temperature forecast, we can see it is forecasting a colder than average winter here across much of the British Isles. The warmer than average temperature colours out to the northwest associated with that blocking area of high pressure. And precipitation forecast for the winter 2012-2013. Again, it's above average precipitation. You would expect that with the trough across the British Isles, below average precipitation to the north. Again, we expect that with the blocking area of high pressure. So there's no doubt about this. The Beijing Climate Centre is, I think, going for a cold winter setup for the British Isles. Finally, I'm going to look at the Jamstec IOD model. We're nearly done now. This is the forecast from Jamstec IOD for the winter of 2012-2013, December, January, February. And yes, look at this. It's going for a very cold winter here across just about all parts of the British Isles. The core of the cold probably centred around northern Germany and Denmark, but the whole of Europe is colder than average. This is a turnaround from the model last month when it wasn't really going for a cold winter at all. It is definitely going for a cold winter. These are temperature forecast. It's definitely going for a cold winter on this month's update. And for precipitation anomalies, well, look at all this blocking being forecast to the north. The salmon pink colours, yes, they indicate below average precipitation. So yes, that is forecasting blocking areas high pressure, probably around Scandinavia and probably around Iceland and Greenland as well. Above average precipitation being forecast through France and central parts of Europe. Again, this does indicate some sort of trough to the south. Ridges to the north, that is very much a signal for a cold winter, and that goes along with the Beijing Climate Centre, and it goes along with the UK Met Office. It goes along, I think, with the Brazilian model as well. So there's a lot of model agreement here for a cold winter, not just for the British Isles, but for much of Europe as well. A really significantly cold winter if these models are correct. Now, not all models are going for it, but CFS definitely is going for a more milder zonal Atlantic dominating setup. So there's still doubt about this. Not all models are in agreement, but certainly the bulk of models there are going for a cold winter. We've got 4 going for a cold winter. Then we've got the CFS going for the complete opposite, a mild zonal winter. And as far as the ECMWF is concerned, and the Russian model, I'm not sure about those two. We don't get enough information really from the ECMWF to make a judgment call on what that model is going for, and the Russian doesn't really seem to make sense to me this month. So I'll be looking at it again next month, seeing if things are making more sense. So we'll do another model update next month, and I will be looking to see whether CFS in particular starts to back away from its zonal wind setup, or whether these other models begin to move towards the CFS. I think next month's update, November's update, really will be the key one for trying to see where these models are going. That's it for now. I'm off to have a drink of water. In fact, I'm going to have one now. Thank you very much for watching and sticking with the video. I hope you've been able to hear what I've been saying. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.